Hi guys. So we learned a lot on Once Upon a Time last night. So let's go from the beginning. We finally get the backstory. So the Black Fairy kidnapped Gideon while Blue is trying to take him away and raise him as a good person. Unfortunately, Black Fairy intervened and now she has him. So we see him being taken by her to her realm. And basically, her realm, nobody really. Everybody's kind of like a prisoner, let's say, and time works very differently there. I guess 28 years goes in like a couple of days. Not positive if that's accurate, but I'd say it's pretty close. So yeah, Gideon, we see him growing up with the Black Fairy, and she's very, very, not even just manipulative, but plain out evil towards him. She wants to raise him as her own, but she's like the worst mother/grandmother ever written. She catches him with the book that Belle had given him, and the book was basically to remind Gideon that he's a hero, to never give up that fight. Unfortunately, when the Black Fairy catches him with the book, she threatens him and she takes his friend, who was in the cell next to him. Yeah, she keeps him in a cell. Yeah, not really a number one mother of the year there. So, anyway, she takes his friend and she says, come and be a hero, and he has the opportunity to stop her, but he can't find it in himself. And also, I do have to say, it's kind of not wise to take on the Black Fairy, even if you are related to her, because you never know what she'll do to you. But I really liked that scene. It really showed Gideon's struggle there, and also we really see the similarities, how the Black Fairy really is Rumpel's mother. She says dearie and she laughs like him, and it was really subtle but very well executed there. So yeah, we get that backstory, and 28 years goes by in her realm. Gideon doesn't even know that it's his birthday. Like, that's how either messed up time is, or I guess she never even told him that he had a birthday, and all of a sudden she's telling him. She's a weird parent. So yeah, he's 28, same age as Emma when she first came to Storybrooke, which is an interesting connection. So he's kind of obedient to her at this point, and she notices a key is missing from her vault, and she wants him to go down to the mines where they mine for, I guess it's black fairy dust. It's very dark magic. And she wants him to find who stole the key and use dark magic against him to turn him into a bug or something. So Gideon goes down there and he sees his friend, who he thought was dead. And now his friend wants him to help him stop the Black Fairy because she has some evil plans. And we actually learn that the Black Fairy was the one who created the Dark Curse, which is kind of an interesting connection to the whole show. So it's really interesting to learn that. And Gideon's friend, I think his name was Roger, he tells him about the Savior and mentions how if they find the Savior, then she can help them stop the Black Fairy because she has something else planned. And Gideon is reluctant, like he doesn't really want to help at first, but he then agrees to. They try to find the Savior through a crystal ball, but it turns out the Black Fairy was actually tricking them. She had this plan the whole time. It was meant to be a test, which Gideon failed. So, to make him pay, she turns Gideon's friend into a bug, and squashes him right in front of him. Yeah, not getting a card on Mother's Day. So yeah, she's really, like, I don't want to say she's worse than Rumple because he's done some really bad things too, but she's up there. So Gideon is just, that really bothers him. And I will get to what happens next in a moment, but let's rewind a little bit back to the other subplots. So Hook, we see him a little bit in this episode. He is still trying to get back, and he finds Blackbeard at a tavern. And if you guys know, Blackbeard had the Jolly Roger because Hook traded the ship to him to get back to Emma back in season 3. So now he's willing to trade the ship again, now that it's in his possession, back in Storybrooke, but we'll get to that. So he wagers a bet where he knows that Blackbeard has the magic bean, which will transport him back to Storybrooke. So he wants the bean in exchange. So Blackbeard will get the ship, and Hook can get the bean. I can't remember exactly what the wager was. Either one gets both or none, I don't know. Anyway, so that's Hook's plan. They play a game of cards. Blackbeard wins. So they go out to the port, and Blackbeard doesn't see the ship, and this was the best moment. Hook really tricked him here. He's like, oh, right, about that. So he tells him what's going on, and he needs the bean to get the ship. Haha. So Blackbeard decides he's going to go with him to make sure he gets the ship. So they transport themselves. Unfortunately, it doesn't take them home. Takes them to Neverland, which we never thought we'd see again. So they're kind of in that peril right now, because I actually didn't realize this. There are still lost boys on the island, even when Pan's not there. They stayed there because they were very resistant to becoming part of a family and all that. So they really don't like Hook, and they're really in trouble now. They managed to escape the island in a boat, a little boat that's just randomly on the shore. Blackbeard knocks Hook out, and he gets away, and Hook's left on the island. So yeah, he can't win. Oh, and Blackbeard, he really sucks. Also, he's not a Captain Swan shipper, I learned. So yeah, he had to deal with that. Emma, so she was confronted by Gideon in the last episode at the very end. She knows that Hook is in another realm, and she's trying to get him back. But Gideon is like, he can't come back unless you help me. So Emma agrees, but she was very resistant at first. She did not want to help him, especially because he tried to kill her, which, understandable. And Emma at one point tries to go to Rumple, and she's like, your son is out of control, and I can't promise anything. He wants me to help him kill the Black Fairy. Do you know who she is? And he's like, oh yeah, she's my mother. The conversations they have. But yeah, that's where we learned that the Black Fairy created the Dark Curse, sorry. And basically, she cannot come into their realm. She cannot come to Storybrooke because she will be very powerful and undefeatable, basically. She is in her realm for a reason. She can only come into their realm and other realms to steal children. That's as much time as she has, and then she's pulled back into her realm. So basically it spells doomsday if she escapes her realm. So that's kind of some motivation for Emma to try to help Gideon. She goes to Gideon and she's like, okay, I'm gonna help you, but I want the sword, which he mended. So she gets the sword, and the plan is to bring Hook back, and then they'll go stop the Black Fairy. And this is where things get complicated. They go to the sorcerer's house, which we haven't seen in a while, and they try to bring back Hook, but it seems that the Black Fairy has stumbled onto their plan and rigged the spell. So instead of bringing Hook back, what happens is a giant spider suddenly comes out and starts attacking them. And while they're trying to avoid the spider, Gideon and Emma kind of have a little conversation, and he tells her what the plan was, to try to stop the Black Fairy, like he was going to try to kill Emma so he could harness her powers and stop the Black Fairy. He figured he'd be undefeatable, and he's like, that actually wasn't really a good plan. And I'm like, you think? So he actually does apologize, but I still kind of felt like there was something not right, and we'll get to that. So they're still trying to get away from the spider, and all of a sudden, Gideon betrays Emma. He gets her caught in the web, and he leaves her to die at the hands of the spider. And her dying will harness magic to open the portal to the Black Fairy's realm. And Gideon's plan is supposedly still to stop her, which we actually learn that's not the case. But like I said, we'll get to that in a minute. So Emma manages to break free, and she fights the spider for like literally a second. And then the spider gets her in the web, and she's starting to suffocate. And this is causing the sword to open the portal. And just when we think hope is lost, Rumple actually comes in and saves Emma. Never, ever thought I'd see that. It's like, he's saved her life kind of on the side, but never like right at that moment, right there, just for her, which was kind of nice to see. So he saves her, and they stop the spider, and she squashes the bug, because I don't like spiders, so I'm glad she did that. And she tells Rumple that she thinks Gideon is completely lost to the dark side because he still tried to kill her, and she's not going to be able to help him. And Rumple doesn't like hearing that. So there's kind of a fight, and Rumple and Belle still believe that Gideon can be saved, but Emma and Snow are like, no, he's past being saved. If they have to stop him, they have to stop him. But Rumple kind of makes a promise here, like, if you try to do anything to my son, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to stop you. So, yeah, always a war. But, so we see in the next scene, Gideon is talking to his mother, like, not to her, but just kind of like out loud if she can hear him, kind of thing. He's saying that your plan didn't work, you didn't get through, and at this point, which I'm going to tell you now, we know that the Black Fairy has been in control of Gideon this entire time. She, after she killed his friend, took Gideon's heart. So she has been controlling him and causing him to do all of these things. It wasn't Gideon. And I actually did not see this twist coming, and it made me relieved because there is still hope that he's a good person deep down. But she kind of points out that a part of you does kind of want to help me, and he kind of agrees to that, but I think he just feels forced, because sometimes you can't really say no in these situations, and I actually do feel some sympathy for Gideon. So I'm kind of glad to know that his plan was originally just to bring the Savior to stop her, not to kill her, harness her powers, and stop her. So yeah, it gets complicated, but I really liked that twist. It was well done. I never considered that as a possibility, and apparently Rumple and Emma have not either. Because if they did, they would not be fighting right now. So, for the last storyline that happened in this episode, Regina's trying to figure out how to break the sleeping curse on Snow and Charming, which they seriously never get to. They say, oh, we're gonna get to this, and they never do. Maybe in the next episode. Looks like it. Anyway, so she mentions that she's already been able to break some of the curses that her evil self caused, like the border to Storybrooke, and she actually got the dragon out of the mirror, which I'm glad they cleared that up. I was really curious about that. And so she's trying to figure out how to stop the sleeping curse, and she tries to figure out some ingredients for Henry to go get, and as he starts to write it down, something happens where he becomes possessed. He just suddenly starts scribbling all these codes and everything, and we later see that he's passed out, and he wakes up and he has no idea what's happened to him. So Regina's plan is to go see the author before him, Isaac, from season 4. He's been in prison for a while now, and he really had some of the best dialogue in this episode. Like, at one point he's like, I can help you, but why should I? You locked me up here this whole time, and what did I even try to do? And Regina's like, you tried to kill us all. Which, yes, he did. Villains never, well, they usually don't see the error of their ways, which makes sense. So he's not going to help, but then he kind of wants all these different things, like he wants to be released, he wants to go to New York, and he wants a car. And he's like, since you're making this so hard, I also want Hamilton tickets. And I was like, yes. I love all the musical theater references, and Hamilton has been the biggest musical theater reference this year. So anyway, he's not gonna give up on these things, but he eventually tells them that Henry is having his author powers taking over. Like, there's something where this hasn't really happened before, but you're not always in control of the author powers. Sometimes it just comes over you and you have to write whatever is being forced to be written, let's say. So that is what Henry is dealing with. And later, when Isaac is about to leave, he points out that in the storybook there's empty pages in the back of the book, and it's the final chapter. And we learn that there is a fight coming. There's a battle for the Savior to be fought, and that is the last chapter. And nobody knows how that is going to end, but it's not going to be pretty. So that's where the episode left. And I think that basically confirms either the series is ending, or this could be the final season of this story. There's a chance the show will get a reboot, but I don't know, and I don't know if I'm ready for that, honestly. I've grown up with this show, and it's just kind of weird to think that it's ending one way or another. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this episode was really well done, and I think it's one of my favorites from this part of the season. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on here. Looks like Black Fairy's going to be confronting Emma, and maybe Snow and Charming will finally end their sleeping curse. We'll see. Yeah, only a few more episodes left, so so much going on. Alright, guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you soon. Bye!